Toxicator is the brand new for 2025 Huss Ride suspended topspin at Alton Towers. And let me tell you, Alton Towers needed a flat ride, and boy they got a great one with Toxicator. In this review I'm going to give you my full in-depth thoughts about Toxicator, including the area, the cycle, and even the soundtrack, which, spoiler alert, it's a great one.
This is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard in my life.
So stick around to find out.
Are you ready?
First, we're going to have a quick history lesson. Toxicator is the spiritual successor to the old Ripsaw attraction that used to occupy the same plot of land. This was a classic Huss Rides topspin, so you would sit in like a stadium seating, all facing the same way. There was fountains. It would pretty much do the same thing. You would go round, it would flip over a couple times, and it was a very, very loved attraction. However, due to the Smiler accident in 2015, the park was faced with a huge fine that they had to pay off by closing rides that cost a lot to upkeep. Ripsaw was one of these, as it had quite a lot of moving parts to it, and because it was quite old, it was taking a lot of money away from other areas of the park to keep maintaining this attraction. Now in 2024, Alton Towers unveiled plans for a new permanent flat ride on that plot of land. Now we'd had like an upcharge attraction, we'd had like a stunt show, and then we had one of the members of the retro squad. Thank goodness they're gone. But we'd never really seen another permanent addition to that area since Ripsaw. Now with these new plans being very similar dimensions to a brand new Huss Ride suspended topspin, which is the more modern version of what Ripsaw used to be, it led a lot of people to believe that a Huss Rides topspin would return to the Alton Towers Resort for 2025. Toxicator opened to the public on the 15th of March 2025 as part of a new sub-area of the whole Forbidden Valley area called Sector 97, the 97 being one of many references to Ripsaw, this one in particular being towards the opening year of the ride, which was 1997. The whole storyline of Toxicator is that it's a giant centrifuge machine, that's quite hard to say actually, where they are taking the Nemesis saliva, putting it in these big tanks, and then spinning it around really, really fast to create a new substance called Wasperium, which actually features the word Ripsaw backwards, which I didn't even notice until someone pointed out to me, which is very clever. There's also a "Can you cut it" sign in the tunnel that the ride sits atop of, which is Ripsaw's old motto. Toxicator opened with the slogan "Submit to the spin," which is alliteration, so my English teacher, if you're watching this. It sits atop of this concrete platform where you can walk underneath it, but then also you can stand in front of it and you look up and it looks huge. There's parts of the ride and parts of the area that you can stand in which looks like it's above the tree line, which, if you don't know, Alton Towers can't build above the tree line, otherwise the locals try and sue them pretty much. But it looks like it's over the tree line. Now Toxicator is the world's tallest topspin thanks to this elevation change, which, considering the fact that I just mentioned, the fact that they can't build above the tree line, it's quite ironic that Alton Towers has something that is the world's tallest. As you enter the queue, you walk under this really good sign. There's like slime dripping off it, it's like it's been burnt on the side of it by all like the toxic slime and stuff. Then there's also a coil off to the right of it, which is a reference to Ripsaw, as it used to have one going across the central bar. So the queue itself, it splits off into 4 lanes. You've got the main queue, wrap queue, fast track, and then single rider. I haven't tried single rider yet, but but I've heard a lot of people have said it's actually really good, which is surprising for me. I don't know why, but I'm really shocked by that. So the main queue is the only one I've done at the moment. You come all the way down, you then take a right hand turn and up into this like giant cattle pen pretty much. It's not the nicest queue, however it has been dressed up pretty decently. It has like some barrels off to the side, it's got some like decals on the fencing of the Toxicator logo. Then as you come back down towards the batching area, there's a giant design on the wall that says like refining the future, and it has the Phalanx Expo sign on. And then just before you get to where you're like batched into your groups, you have like this scene of it's like a locker room, I believe. It has like a wall of lockers, it's then got hazmat suits. One of the lockers says John Burton on it, which I like. And then it has like a load of equipment and stuff that they use, obviously. Me and my dad keep making jokes that the hazmat suits we use to clean up poo after it exploded. And then you then come around, you're batched into your groups and you're sent up the stairs towards the platform. You then wait for the gates to open, they open, then you go down, you take your seats. Editor Airtime Addict here. I kind of forgot to mention that the seats are really comfortable, which they are. So, yeah, the seats are really comfy. And then the floor lowers. At this point as well, there's like some very, very intense music at the top. You see the fountains like going like splashing in front of you. And then the ride starts. It starts with a woman. I'm going to do the impression. Toxicator active. Initiating program Alpha. Yeah, it's pretty funny. So the cycle starts by taking you all the way around, locked, so you're inverted at the top. Then you come back round to the top and you unlock part way up. So now you're level. Each side then gets lowered down over the fountains, so it is back to back if you didn't know. So they lower each side down over the fountains, especially if you're sitting on the side facing where Blade used to be. As you come back over and the other side gets lowered down, you're like beyond vertical, just lying on your back. That's a freaky moment, that is. That's a great moment. Then you come back up to the top. The woman's voice says like commencing centrifugal rotations or something or other. You come back down, then at the bottom you unlock, you do 2 flips. They're quite intense, not as intense as the next lot of ones though, which are very intense, and I'll get onto them in a sec. You then come back over, you do a full cycle round unlocked, then you come back over and then you go down the other way, and it says like force overload or something, I can't quite remember what it says there. So you come back down, you unlock, you do 3 flips, and I don't know what it is, especially if you're facing Galactica's side. These ones feel extremely intense. You come out, you're just like, whoa, after that. Yeah, that's a very intense moment. You then come down, you do a full cycle round, you then lock like at 90 degrees, I think, so you do like a full one in like a weird position. Then you unlock, you swing out in front of the fountains and spray everyone in the queue line, and then you come back round, and then it's done. So it's a decently long cycle, it's about 2 minutes. I was speaking to Bianca, however, and there are more cycles, so I hope there's one like Telecon that just goes like that. And there's also fountains, which in the summer, them fountains are going to be turned on fully. At the moment, as you get towards them, they kind of go down the closer you get to them, so you don't actually get wet. However, outside of the ride's entrance are a couple of those like dryer things that you get on water rides, which makes me believe that in the summer you're going to get drenched on this thing. You're going to be like lowered down over these fountains, and it's just going to be like waterboarding you for like 5 seconds. It's going to be great. So then you kind of come off, the floor rises back up, you grab your stuff, you go down some steps, and then that's the ride done. Bye. All jokes aside, the whole experience is really good. The music is synced up to the ride.
This is a certified hood classic.
There's also these two giant, like, toxic tanks either side of the ride that have, like, this wasperium substance in that, like, rises, and there's, like, a whirlpool at one point in it, which is all synced up to the ride. But speaking of those tanks, when the ride breaks down, there's, like, a separate setting for the tanks where you can see it, and it's like the silhouette of a guy just, like, cleaning it all in there. It's really funny. I really do like that touch. Like, they didn't need to do that, but they did. And it works. So just the rest of the area is what I'm going to talk about now. There's obviously the concrete platform, but then underneath it is really cool. You've got, like, slime dripping down. There's a couple of Ripsaw references in there. The one thing I do wish is that, like, the tarmac floor was had, like, some details on it. Maybe, like, just some, like, slime details or something. A bit like in, I'm sure, is it, like, World of Jumanji or something? I know there's somewhere that has, like, a kind of designed floor on it with, like, a resin on the top, I believe. I kind of wish they did that, but I know that Merlin is struggling with money at the moment, so that doesn't surprise me. Off to the side, where the queue isn't, you've got, like, a load of rocks with, like, I think that looks like sand or something, but it's all green, so it looks like slime dripping down off it. That's really good. You got some more barrels everywhere, and then you've also got the shop, which has some very nice new merch in there, including this one hoodie with, it's like green and it's got like an embroidered design on it. I was looking at one and then I realised that it was £60 without Merlin Pass discount, by the way. But yeah, I'm not getting that because I spent a lot on my Hyperion one and I don't want to spend even more on a Toxicator one. Overall, I'm gonna give Toxicator a 8.5 out of 10. I think it's very good. The theming in the queue could have been a little bit better, but that's just the nature of that queue. You can't really theme a cattle pen that well. Just look at Shambhala. And the queue doesn't make a ride bad, because Shambhala is my favourite ride in the world. So yeah, I think it's a really good ride. I'd love to see it on a more intense cycle. But yeah, so as always, have you ridden Toxicator? Comment down below what you think of it. Like and subscribe. You've been watching Airtime Addict, thanks for watching, and I'll see you around. Try a bit.